If you clicked on this video, you're probably like most Blue Jay fans right now. You're excited about the Blue Jays adding a ton of pitching talent, but at the same time, you're getting a little impatient with how long the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes are taking. And I get it, I am right there with you, but do not worry. We received a couple of updates from some MLB insiders that might give us some indication as to when the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes might be over. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. We receive updates from Jon Morosi and Shai as to what Kyle Tucker and his camp's plans are this week, as well as what the Blue Jays plans are to get him into a Blue Jays uniform. We'll break it all down, as well as give you my prediction as when I think Kyle Tucker will sign and what that would mean for the Blue Jays moving forward. Before we get into it though, guys, I please encourage you to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. We make daily Blue Jays news and content, so if you're a Blue Jay fan, you want to stay up to date, this is the place you want to be. All right, guys, let's get straight into the first update here from Shai on Monday. He came on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and gave his update on what Kyle Tucker and his camp are currently doing this week, and it's to his understanding that he believes Kyle Tucker will be meeting with other interested teams this week, and then his market will proceed from there. Now, we know the Blue Jays have met with Kyle Tucker a few weeks ago down in Dunedin. This was the first team that Kyle Tucker met with, and it blew up the internet because the Blue Jays before that were being linked to him as the favorites, and then he goes and visits them. That's all standard practice, and I wanted to remind everybody at that time that it's standard practice, and he's going to go and meet with other teams. And now it looks like this is the week that he's going to be doing that. Then you had Jon Morosi come out on MLB Network and kind of add on to this narrative that he's going and meeting with other teams and that there could be a decision coming soon. He does say that the Blue Jays will be there until the very end of the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes. Obviously, if they're the number one team that has the most money, they're probably going to be sticking with them until the end. He does go on and say he doesn't expect Jays to get both Tucker and Bichette. That's a whole other conversation. But Morosi expects a clearer picture on who the favorites are in the next 48 to 72 hours. Again, this was also given on Monday. It's Wednesday as of recording this video, and by the time it's 1:12 p.m. on December 17th, that will be 48 hours. So today, as of recording this video, or tomorrow, we should be getting a clearer picture on who the favorites are because he's gone and met with these other teams that are interested in him. Obviously, the Blue Jays are going to be one of them. They've got the money, but it's all depending on what the other teams are offering him. We know the Dodgers want to get a type of shorter-term, high AAV deal because if the Blue Jays aren't going to offer him that $400 million, then he might want to consider going for a shorter high AAV and testing the market in another free agency year. Now, why would I say the Blue Jays wouldn't give him the $400 million? They have the money. No one else is offering it. Well, it's exactly because of that. Right now, the reports are that no other team's kind of seeing him as a $400 million guy. Could be due to some injuries or what have you. Well, we got a little update here, and I don't know this guy too personally, so just take this with a grain of salt. I don't really know what he does. I think he's got a podcast, but his thoughts are very true. He comes out here, it's Dean Carrasco, Jericho? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Someone correct me in the chat. But what he's saying is, from what I am reading, teams are not coming close to the money Kyle Tucker is asking for. And he's not the only one that's been saying this. Other people have started to come out and said that other teams aren't offering him that $400 million for 10 years. Feels like there are two options. Blue Jays are waiting a little longer for the price to drop down and give him $325 to $350, or Dodgers swooping with a short-term high AAV contract like I mentioned. Again, if you're the Blue Jays, think of it from your perspective. If no one's offering $400 million, I might as well wait a little bit longer, have him realize no other team is kind of offering me that money. And also for me, I need to see that no other team's offering that money, and I can drop down his price and get a little bit of a better deal because let's face it right here, what's crazy to think is the Blue Jays actually have a little bit of leverage because they're the only team with the financial spending power. But you do cross into a danger zone where then you let other teams kind of come back into the mix. Like the Dodgers say, okay, you're not getting that $400 million, come here for 1 year, $50 million per year because he wants $40 million AAV. If you offer him more AAV and then have the opportunity the next following season to still get that similar type of AAV, that $40 million per year that you wanted, then that makes a ton of sense for him. So the Blue Jays right now are kind of waiting and seeing what's happening this week, and then they're going to be there right to the end because, you know, if the Dodgers come in and swoop in and try to offer him that contract, then the Blue Jays might bump themselves back up to that $400 million and see what if Kyle Tucker will take that right there. So it's a little bit of cat and mouse right now between the Blue Jays, other teams, and Kyle Tucker in his camp. But right now, I think the Blue Jays are in a very good spot. And right now, today, we could be finding out what the updates are and who the favorites are, who's still in on him, and what have you. So some pretty exciting stuff and some pretty exciting updates right there. So with all that being said, what's my prediction on when I think he's going to sign? Well, he's got to take the information he's gained this week from some other teams, digest that a little bit. So I wouldn't expect him to necessarily go and jump the gun and sign at the end of this week. Honestly, I could see him signing maybe over the weekend before Christmas, because a lot of these guys, these number one free agent stars, they've typically signed before Christmas, before the holiday season. It's getting pretty close, but I could believe it. Depending on his market and the way it's developing, it's a little bit different. So I could see it maybe stretch into the new year if he has to weigh out, do I want a low, a term deal with high AAV, or am I going to get that, mega contract from the Jays right now? If he's kind of weighing between those two options, he might be running out of time before the holiday season, and you could see it bleed over into the new year. You've seen players like that in the past, like Bryce Harper, Manny Machado back in the late 2010s, right? You've seen those type of deals transpire in the new year. Whereas in the past couple of years, the guys who signed before free agency, they were superstars. It's Shohei Ohtani. Everyone's offering all the money. Juan Soto, everyone's offering all the money. So it's just take the highest bidder and go and move on and get on with your offseason. But Kyle Tucker's a little bit of a different camp. So I could predict here with some strong conviction, I probably think it might happen after Christmas. Could be before the new year or just after the new year. I think that's where we're going to see it sign, which I know it's frustrating, but just know, Blue Jay fans, things are going well for the Blue Jays because they've got all the leverage. Whereas before, the player has all the leverage and can take whatever deal he wants. This is actually a good thing if you wanted to get a good deal for Kyle Tucker. And finally, what would this mean if the Blue Jays could actually land Kyle Tucker? Well, honestly, guys, for the rest of the offseason, I think if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, you're sitting pretty right now. I mean, really. What else is there to do? If you go get Kyle Tucker, just looking at their Fangraphs roster right now, Leo Jimenez would probably get bumped off here, but then your bench consists of, Tyler Heineman, Davis Schneider, Miles Straw, and then you're starting to have to think about bumping out either Nathan Lucas or, Anthony Santander. That's what it's coming down to right now. Like, that position side of things is complete. Now, you could make an argument, try and get Bo Bichette. I've said this many times, only get Bo Bichette if you can get him on that low AAV, which feels like his market is developing into that. We'll have to wait and see how things go. And then you're looking over, we already finished the pitching side of things, right? The starting pitching is super complete. In fact, we've got a surplus of guys. Maybe a trade is in order, but right now it's super complete. And then the bullpen, you could argue maybe they go look for another closing option other than Jeff Hoffman, but again, I think they paid money for Jeff Hoffman to give him a chance. He's got 2 more years left on his deal. If he sucks this year, then they'll start thinking about internal options, but I wouldn't be upset with this bullpen going into the season either. I think it actually has improved just a little bit compared to last year. So honestly, overall, folks, the Blue Jays offseason, if they get Kyle Tucker, it would basically be complete. So if it happens in the next 2 to 3 weeks, then it's over. And then we're just looking at the spring trading upcoming and all the updates there. Maybe you see a trade or two here to kind of clear up some 40-man space, but, that effectively would be it. And honestly, you ask me, that would be an A+, maybe even A++ if they got Bo Bichette or another closer in there type of offseason right there. You get the number one guy, you get a big-time starting pitcher, you get a great bullpen piece, you get another supporting starting pitcher. It would be amazing, guys. So we'll hopefully find out soon about Kyle Tucker and the sweepstakes, but that's the latest update for y'all. If you like this video, hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, and as always, guys, go Jays go!